Absolutely. I've got the wrong overlay again, but we're gonna have to deal with that. Man, switching servers makes it so difficult to stay on top of all the changes. But Grant, let's talk about these players here before we complain about Creighton's lack of broadcasting skills. Who have we got here playing today?
On the bottom left-hand side, Creighton Olsen, we have the player playing for Cosmos Esports, a new up-and-coming incredible team. He is the Red Zerg player from Brazil. It's eGGz.
He's actually Colombian.
I mean, that's why I paused. I was like, wait.
It's all right.
It's
difficult. You're halfway correct because on the other side of the map, our blue Protoss player representing the Brazilian team, Black Knight Esports, and hailing from Brazil himself, it is nanO. Big fan of early stage iPods, this guy is. nanO. He just loves them. He loves them. So yeah, as you mentioned, Grant, this is going to be our first non-mirror matchup of the entire day. We have had 5 mirror matchups in a row now: PvP, PvP, ZVZ, ZVZ, and another PvP to end it out. And today, we're going to split the difference here in match number 6 and do a half PvP, half ZVZ, Protoss versus Zerg. How is this matchup looking for you right now, Grant? How do you feel like, what space do you feel like PvZ is in? Is it a healthy place or an unhealthy place?
Yeah, generally, PvZ I think is considered to be pretty balanced right now. The shield battery's overcharge is very, very strong, but the way that Zerg works, especially if they're going for a lot of Ravages and stuff, it doesn't really matter because they one-shot most of their units. I think it's a good matchup. I think this map is going to be interesting. I think as a Zerg player, it's quite difficult because you take your third in that location in the very south center almost. That's the one. And you'll see Zealot run-bys almost continuously coming from the east, and up that ramp. So they have a set pile on the bottom right-hand side, somewhere along those lines, and they'll just send wave after wave of Zealots. It's very difficult to defend multiple angles once you get those triangle bases. As a Protoss, it's not as bad because you'll generally get photon cannons. I heard Harston talk about this matchup on this map, and he said getting a 4th base on this map is more expensive than any other map because you have to add 3 cannons and a sealed battery to your 4th, and you also need 2 cannons in your natural, but Zerg can't really do that, so it's harder for them to defend. Talking about the players specifically in this match, eGGz is the favorite. nanO's a bit more of an underdog in this matchup, and eGGz was seed 1. He's been around for a while, and he's very good, playing for Black Knight, who also have my boy Marsman. What about you, Creighton? Have you got anything you think I've missed?
No, that was a really nice overview of the map and the players as well, Grant. I couldn't have said it better myself. And now I think all that's left to really talk about is strategy. But so far, it looks like both players playing very, very standard games, very standard builds. eGGz with maybe a bit of an early Roach Warren, but not terribly early. He's still got that 3rd base down. I don't think this is any sort of crazy Roach all-in, unless he stops droning now, which he may do. We'll keep our eyes on that production tab to see what's going on. On the other side of the map, nanO going for Glaive to Depths. Now, usually the problem when a Protoss player goes Glaive to Depths against Zerg is that Zerg doesn't get their Roach Warren out fast enough, right? And that first round of 4 or 8 or 12 Adepts hits before there are too many Roaches on the map. Not the problem that eGGz is going to have, as he has in fact cut drone production and is adding on just Lings. Uh-oh, Grant. This looks rough.
Yeah, so this is an aggressive form of Glaive Adepts as well, because it's off of 4 gateways. We do have our Zerg player, though, moving out, and this is the best way, I believe, to counter this. And I almost think, with eGGz seeing that Robo early, he kind of knows what might be coming. And that's why he's going to put on this pressure. eGGz behind this, he's just making nothing but units. Now, these Adepts that are in the Prism are going to be very difficult to deal with.
Sure.
But right now, the focus for nanO needs to be on defense. How much does he have? Does he have a battery?
No. There's no battery. There's nothing back home. This, yeah, oh my god. The Stalker goes down immediately, forcing an immediate recall of that Warp Prism. The 4 Immortals are all that he's got, but oh my god. Depowers everything off that one pylon. This is looking terrible, Grant.
Yeah, eGGz right now in complete control of this. The supply may seem a little bit even right now, but look at his army supply, because eGGz stopped at 23 workers and took a very quick game 1 with a Roachling all-in. GG.
Whew, I don't know if that merits a GG. At least 1 G, certainly, but whew, that second one.
Yeah, I'd give it 1 G.
Yeah, a rough game there. Just a lack of a read from our boy eGGz and map, or from our boy nanO rather. And map number 2, he's gonna have to work really hard to try and come back.
Yeah, I'm very curious actually as to whether from Egg's point of view, he saw the Robo in the position at the time it was and goes, I am playing against Glaive Adepts. Because I imagine he went into it expecting to play the style that he did play, which was a very aggressive build. But there's always a possibility that he goes, okay, I see this Robo, I know what I'm seeing, GG, I'm going. It was just such a clean start. There was no mistakes, none.
Very clean, countered the build very, very nicely, and as we said, he had that Roach Warren down pretty early. It could have been like a responsible sort of early Roach Warren just to defend, but I think you're absolutely correct. When he saw that Robo go down, immediately something clicked and he said, hang on, I can change this up. I can make it work. And just rolled over nanO here. You know, earlier before the stream, Grant, we've been joking a bit about the very small amount of work we have to put in here in the Latin America series, and we were joking that it might just be a 10-minute series, and I'm a bit concerned that may be the case here. If game number 2 is also as quick, this could be really rough for nanO.
Yeah, so one thing nanO needs to do is maybe not forget his shield battery this time, because one battery and that wall breaks much, much slower. The recall would have come in, the adepts would have been behind the stalker in the wall, and they would have done a much better job. They would have saved the pylon, which means the observer would have come out. The observer wasn't going to be doing too much, but it would have possibly opened up the option for an immortal going forward. It still would have been a hard defense, but I think it would have been doable with a shield battery, and by pressing on that nexus, clicking B and clicking on the battery, making it invulnerable.
Well, let's see if he's learned his lesson here in game number 2. We'll introduce our players and then talk more about Pillars of Gold, another new map here in the map pool. Spawning in the bottom left-hand side in the red, representing Cosmos Esports and Colombia. It is our Zerg player with one of the most delicious names in all of StarCraft. It's eGGz.
And his opponent in the top right. He is a big fan of... There's a Metal Gear Solid joke in somewhere with nanobots, but I can't make it happen. He is the Brazilian from the Brazilian team Black Knight in the blue, the Protoss player. It's nanO.
Could we just take a moment to appreciate how dope the freaking Black Knight Esports logo is?
So good.
How freaking psycho cool is that? Oh.
I get to cast a lot of Marsman, who is the Dutch player on Black Knight.
Right.
And also my tutor when I had to play against Kalajur, a Brazilian. Marsman was like, this is what you do, and then I lost.
I was going to ask how that game went.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you about my series with Kalajur, because this is a standard opening. I played Kalajur at a Dutch tournament that I was casting, but they needed one more player, so I played round 1. Game 1, I cannon rush him.
How'd that work out?
I sat opposite him, and he's just laughing. I kill his main, I kill his racks, I kill all his workers, but he has a proxy factory. And because he has one cyclone, he can just outrange my cannons and he wins again.
Sure.
Because I also lost all my workers.
Sure.
But it was the closest I'll ever come to beating someone of like 7k MMR. And we're playing the game and fully focusing and just laughing out loud at how ridiculous the game was.
That is ridiculous.
And then game 2, I tried to do like a proxy gateway thing, and he killed me with his fast Reaper.
Yeah, no, Kalajur's Reapers are the most terrifying Reapers since Beyond. Like that man.
Yeah.
I have seen him. We did a talk show style thing with him called the Archangel Files, and he played a bunch of Zerg players and would double proxy racks or triple proxy racks Reaper them, game after game after game, and he would have 25 Reapers and not lose a single one.
And that's the one where you're also asking him questions as he plays and things, right? And
correct. Yeah, we're trying to tax his like mental micro there, asking him sort of stupid questions.
That was really fun.
And he didn't lose a single game until the very end when he played Mana. And Mana finally got revenge and took him out. Anyway, yeah, as you were saying, standard openings for these two players here. It looks like we got a Twilight Council for the Tier 2 tech for nanO, and no Tier 2 tech yet for eGGz. He's just going for Ling Speed, and still no third... Oh, there it is, sorry. Third base goes down, just as I say, still no third base. Ha!
So, are we going to see a Robo follow-up here from nanO, is my question. If it was going down, it needs to go down now for Glaive Adept, and there it is. So I do think we're about to see Glaive Adept again here. This time, is he going to get a battery? We will just make sure it is Glaive Adepts. Glaive Adepts makes the most sense. We saw Zest play a little bit of Blink Robo opening here, but Glaive is certainly going to be the most obvious option, and that is exactly what it is. So he's not going to mess about. He's sticking with what he wanted to do in game 1 before he got all in. And this time, eGGz has already made more than 23 workers, and no Roach Warren down yet, so he's going to be able to get what he wants done.
Yeah, thank goodness. And there we see the battery finally going down in the natural. The wall is complete this time. There's a stalker in place. And eGGz, of course, as we said, is not going for any crazy early game aggression. So the front door of nanO looking much more secure this time than it was last time. We're going to see that robo finish up, and Warp Prism should pop out straight away here, as eGggz is about a third of the way done.
And one thing I'm not so keen on for nanO here is when you make that first adept. I know he wants to save all of them for the attack, but he really would be nice if he could get some information. He scouted like the third as it was going down, but get across the map with that adept. You don't have to commit by any means, but use the shade. You're going to bring all your boys over there with it anyway. Hiccup way. But I think nanO may be playing a little bit scared here.
Interesting assessment. I think you might be right. I'd be playing a bit scared after the previous game as well, after just getting destroyed at about the 4-minute mark last game. Roach Warren is just getting started here for eGggz, and this is what we discussed last game, where one of the problems is, with defending this Glaive Adept push is that your Roaches are often very late. Now he's going to see the Adepts coming in, knows exactly what he's up against, but that Roach Warren only about 2/3 of the way done here, and nanO making his way across the map now.
Yeah, eGggz is finished as well, so it's just zerging speed right now. A lot of lanes being made. There's a lot of lanes. We're already looking at 23 with another 14 in production tab. And quick math says that's 37 lanes, which is enough to deal with this just first wave. Now, more reinforcements coming in. If they can back themselves into a corner, this could be a big, big fight for the Adepts. There's so many Adepts here, but the Lings have got a very good surround. Finally, a few Adepts in the back. Oh, this is so cute. Let them down into the low ground. If the Adepts win this fight, they can just shade on by after the Queens, because the Queens don't do enough damage to finish them off. And now we're going to see, he did stop moving for just a second. He could have got a little bit further, but there's certainly going to be some working kills here, Creighton.
Yeah, looks like it. 7 Adepts into the natural here. The Queen's a bit behind. First Roach is finally popping out here. So far, only 2 drones going down. There it is. 3 drones, 4 drones. These Adept attacks are always so terrifying because they don't do damage right away. And then, like, at the very end of the Adept attack, you think, oh, there's like 2 or 3 Adepts left. Surely there's only 2 drones down. That's got to be the end of the attack. And then somehow the last 4 or 5 Adepts take out every single drone. And we see 8 drone kills, which is not optimal, of course, but really not that bad, and the attack is not over yet.
Yeah, one problem for eGggz here is he wasn't ever able to get into the main. He might now. This is going to be cleaned up now. You really want to hit all 3 bases, or be trying to hit all 3 bases simultaneously, moving between the main, the natural, and the third, to try and split the forces and things. And it didn't quite work. Maybe could have used the Prism at the same time if it was a little bit more efficient to hit that main with just 2 Adepts. But nanO's okay. He's up a lot of workers. If he can survive the counter push, then he should be in a pretty good spot. He has a third.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The Warp Prism will make it out alive, but the Roach count is very, very high right now. The natural, going to be the third base that's just gone down is going to be a point of weakness here for our Protoss player. The question is going to be, does eGggz have enough to break that third, and when will he commit to it? Look at the upgrades tab here for our players. Pretty weak for both sides. Just Link speed, just Glaives on the Adepts. And I'm not sure. A couple of Adepts in the main base might do a bit of damage for nanO, but eGggz is in a tough spot right now. nanO got a lot of damage done with that early Glaive Adept attack.
Yeah, and this is what I would have liked to have seen as the other Glaive Adepts were happening. Obviously, it's unbelievably difficult to control that many Adepts as it is. nanO's army supply is starting to get up there. eGggz decided, instead of going for a big counter-attack and possibly risking it all, to just drone up and catch up. One thing that kind of was a little bit unoptimal as nanO's forts finished like a minute ago, and he's really just started +1 with a chrono into it. So it could have been probably 15 seconds quicker on that one, but it's not the end of the world by any means. His army's getting strong. He's got sentries and a good number and immortals. And if you've watched Parting play, you know what one man can do with sentries and immortals against the Zerg player.
Oh, do I ever. I'll never forget I cast a game with DRG playing against a couple Protoss players. And every game, we had a Bomber was viewing the game and he was translating for us. And every game, the Protoss players went Sentry Immortal. DRG would immediately start saying very rude things to them about how Immortal Sentry was a no-skill build. And you only do it because you can't micro. And I know he has very strong feelings about that Immortal Sentry build. I love that these Adepts from nanO that are still causing damage on the other side of the map. Look at that, 5 more drones going down, bringing the Roaches and Raptors back over to the third. eGggz should probably be on a 4th base by now, and he's not. He's still cranking out Roaches and trying to drone up, but he does have a scary number of Roaches on the field right now.
The main problem right now for eGggz is he stopped at 49 workers. He's now making another round. but he needs to find some damage here because our Protoss has been at 60 now for a solid amount of time. His third base is saturated, whereas eGGz isn't even fully saturated. Oh, this Ling run by, though, is very, very scary.
Oh, right into the natural here, and there's nothing to defend against it. One Immortal that pops out at the last second. The Ling's going to get up into the main, and that is going to draw the forces of nanO around. No, nanO's not going to take the bait there. He's going to take this damage on the chin from these Lings and just hope the Zealot's the main cleaned up while still protecting his third base because, of course, his Warp Prism knows these Roaches and Ravagers are looking for more damage elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, kind of possibly a small mistake to warp in Zealots there because he doesn't have Zealot legs. A couple of Adepts may have been a better option to clean this up and be able to get to the fight sooner if there was one. But again, he did clean it up. 7 workers go down. That's still an even worker count, and upgrades are massively in favor of our Protoss. He has +1. A +1 for the Zerg has just started. But our Zerg is going to be a tricky, naughty boy.
I love it. It's so rare to see burrowed roaches actually doing damage, but man, the one game in 5 where they sneak in underneath the gates and get something done in like 3 different bases at the same time to the horror of their Protoss opponents is always phenomenal. So fingers crossed, we see some either cute like ninja play with those units sneaking in, or some cute burrow micro helping those roaches to regenerate their health much faster while they're burrowed. Either way, an exciting play from eGGz.
Yeah, I think eGGz is trying something now, and I think he probably needs to, because the tech is great here for our Protoss. He now has Blink. He has a very healthy Stalker number. I imagine, oh my god, he has so many sentries. Is that like 12? 10?
10 sentries, that's a lot.
Small Link counterattack in the northwest. Getting ready to set up to move to the third if our Protoss were to move out. eGGz's creep spread is, I would say, underwhelming, but despite the circumstances, he's still got it to about the halfway mark. But it's very vulnerable creep. There's one tumor for every area, if that makes sense. There's no overlap, really.
Right.
Meaning you kill one tumor, you push creep back, a good 10 yards. Link counterattack does come in. It's going to get 2 workers. 2 workers.
Not much, perfect. But there is another one behind this, the burrowed roaches, and I was just about to point out, look at the vision for nanO. Does he have any photon cannons down? No. Does he have any revelations available? No. How many observers does he have? One, and it's with the army. This is not what he wants. He has not seen these roaches in the main, in the natural, and here they go. Burrowed roaches popping up. He's chroning out his +2, which doesn't seem to be under duress, but that's going to cause nanO to go ahead and move across the map because I think he realizes he can't deal with these roaches without it recalling, and he's got to get something done right now.
Yeah, so the plan right now for nanO is to go. Oh, actually, he's fighting up a ramp.
Oh
my god, those tiles were destructive. So many units going into red health or going straight down. Better dodges in the second round here. 16 workers have died, and that number continuing to grow right now for nanO. nanO has to kill his opponent right now. He has to win the game convincingly if he wants to continue in this series, if he wants to continue in the Latin American DreamHack Masters 2020 Championships. And I mean, it is still a very scary army for our Protoss.
Still eating more corrosive biles. He's going to get this 4th base down, but look at this. Still roaches in the natural. The count is down to 20 probes gone. The upgrades even for these 2 players, +2, about to finish for nanO, and that might give him a slight edge. But man, I don't care how good your upgrades are. If you don't dodge corrosive biles, you're not going to get anything done. And I tell you, nanO has lost so many units to corrosive biles yet. He still does have that Warp Prism available, but where on earth is it? Way behind this army.
Oh, more corrosive biles collecting with the front line of Stalkers. They take down some of the force fields as well, which is nice here for eGGz. eGGz knows the only way he loses right now is an outright fight. If the fight goes without any good micro or any good biles, he will lose this game. Oh my god, look at those roaches burrowing. Are they looking for a flank?
Yeah, no, right on top. Right on top. They're going to get right underneath. And then pop up. Surprise, boys and girls! The Immortal Shields are popped immediately, and theirs are going to go down very quickly. Corrosive Biles landing on everything. Sure, the roaches are going to get picked down, and eGGz may lose a lot of supply. But again, as long as he defends properly here, he should be just fine. The Immortal count down to just 3. Is it possible that nanO can pull this off?
No, nanO blinked forward. It was the ballsiest play I've ever seen. Drones came off the line though to ensure it for eGGz. But eGGz has just killed too much now. The final Immortal will go down. There we go. Last for the Stalkers here. They're going to try and slowly blink away. No, they're going to end up going for one big blink. But I mean, look at the supply, great odd.
That's it. I mean, look at this army supply graph. You hit Control or Shift A. You will see what an efficient trade looks like for a Zerg player right there, friends. That is a much steeper line for our Protoss player dropping down. And nanO now in a really rough spot. Sure, he's ahead half an upgrade cycle, but he has about 1/3 the army supply of his opponent. And he's got what, fewer workers, fewer bases, and less hope.
And not just that, the Spire has just finished here for eggs, so he can do this. He can take down some Stalkers and then go for a big tech switch. He hasn't managed to bank much money because he was forced to make a lot to defend that. And a bit of a desperate... Oh my god! I've just seen how many Burrowed Roaches have appeared in the main and natural greater.
Terrifying. Forcing an evacuation of the natural, but the main has nowhere to go. And that's it. A quick GG. 13-minute game, but still pretty one-sided. As Cosmos Esports